A very good day, our dear viewers, wherever you're watching us from. Thank you for staying tuned to Diaspora TV Switzerland. I'm Promise Graf, coming to you with this month's news edition. But before going into details, let's have a look at the headlines. Tens of thousands demonstrated in Bern for climate change. The Swiss Federal Council presents a counter-proposal for organ donations with the aim of improving organ shortage. New cases of HIV infection reached an all-time low record in Switzerland. The first ever Symposium of Helvetas titled Enterprising Africa ended in success. Migrants and Swiss artists joined voices together to fight HIV through a movie and a musical concert. An event to fight human trafficking will kick off in Bern. Theodorin Obiang Nguema confiscated luxury cars yielded up to 27 million Swiss francs at Geneva auction. Three weeks before the parliamentary elections, more than 100,000 people demonstrated in the Swiss capital Bern to demand that the current and incoming politicians take action against climate change. There were also many signs calling on private people to rethink their consumption habits, particularly in the areas of food choices and means of travel. Diaspora TV gathered some opinions of the participants.
Ich bin hier, weil soziale Gerechtigkeit und Klimagerechtigkeit zusammengehören. Nur wenn es Klimagerechtigkeit gibt, soziale Gerechtigkeit, gibt es gute Arbeitsplätze, ein würdiges Leben und gute Arbeitsbedingungen für alle.
The government's move to suggest an indirect counter-proposal to a people's initiative, Promote Organ Donation, Save Lives, that was launched in 2017, whose objective says any adult who died could automatically become a donor. The government takes a middle way by proposing a counter-proposal that says anyone that do not want to be a donor after death should register their names. The government's version also includes consultation with family in case of doubt. Switzerland does not have enough organs available for donation. Last year, 68 people died while waiting for a transplant. According to a government statement, donation numbers are still low in Switzerland while compared to European standard, despite a campaign to promote the practice. The number of HIV diagnoses in Switzerland has reached an all-time low record. In 2018, 425 new cases were reported, 4.5% less than in 2017. The Federal Office of Public Health said that there were two main reasons for the falling number of new HIV cases. First, people at a high risk of infection were getting themselves tested more frequently, allowing treatment to be started earlier in the event of an infection. And second, pre-exposure prophylaxis PrEP probably also played a role. With PrEP, one can protect oneself against HIV infection by taking medication. This measure is recommended for people who are at a high risk of HIV infection. It is estimated that 1,500 people used PrEP last year in Switzerland, of which majority of them being gay men. The federal office said further that despite the decrease, HIV prevention remains important and HIV can only be eliminated in Switzerland by 2030 if safe sex rules are followed. The disease remains incurable and requires lifelong treatment. Diaspora TV spoke with Dr. Daniel Koch, the head of Communicable Diseases Division, to tell us more about the development.
What we have seen in Switzerland is that the more testing, which is automatically then better detection and at the beginning an increase of new cases, that is not longer the case. Now the cases are going down. Besides that, a lot of testing is already done. But what we want to reinforce is testing in migrants I think the self-testing kit will help because people don't want first of all go to the doctor for a test, even if there are a lot of opportunities in Switzerland. But we think that for the migration population, this will help, and more testing is very helpful.
Close to 200 participants gathered in Bern at the Kusal Hotel to attend the first ever Helvetas Symposium titled Enterprising Africa and How African Potential Can Be Unleashed. Let's have a look at the highlights of the symposium.
We are reaching a point where we really have to invest in the developing world, and in Africa, that's where the future is. Africa is the future.
We just come out of the first Helvetas Symposium on Enterprising Africa, and I found truly inspiring how the different perspectives of the panelists, how that came together. What we have really seen is that bringing voices together who cross their perspectives, debate, that's real added value, and we don't have enough such spaces.
What struck me about the opportunity today is to share stories and break down those stereotypes that we have. Helvetas has been at the forefront of actually doing a lot of great work in Africa, and I'm just excited about what we can do together.
I came with an open mind, and I'm going back with a full mind. We had wonderful guest speakers who shared their experiences with us. What I loved about it all was everybody was so active.
Atmosphere experience here was very vibrant, a lot of really good ideas, very international atmosphere, and it was really an atmosphere of fire, I would say, so in a positive way.
When you talk entrepreneurship, when you talk job creation, when you talk formal and informal economy, then when you talk Africa, these 5 things, then you get me passionate. And for me, it makes sense to come and share with the ecosystem in Switzerland.
We have to learn more about each other. We have to change our curriculum to ensure that we incorporate information that empowers us to make investment decisions, empowers us to recognize the opportunities in each of our own countries, and empowers us to take out time to actually go and invest.
Events like these symposiums widens our mindset. It opens up our mindset to say, actually, we don't know it all. Also opens up your mindset as Helvetas to say, you also don't know it all. It prompts the thought process, is thought-provoking for participants, for the panel, for the speakers even, to learn and see better ways to do what they're doing.
The next event is in September 2020, and I marked it in my calendar, and I'm hoping to be there.
On Saturday, 2nd of November in Biel at the Volkshaus Saal from 8 p.m. till 3 a.m., several artists from Switzerland will be performing on the stage as part of the major event of Sexually Transmitted Diseases Testing Month. A movie titled Undetectable Beautiful People will be premiered. The project is supported financially by AIDS Hilfe Schweiz, Federal Office of Public Health, AIDS Hilfe Bern, and Reformiert Kirche Bern Jura-Solothurn. Admission is free. Let us have a glimpse of what will happen on that night.
And I see beautiful people, magical people. I see beautiful people just walking on the street. And I see beautiful people, magical people. I see beautiful people just passing by.
The Embassy of Nigeria, FIDS, International Organization for Migration, IOM, 18october.ch, and NIDO Switzerland are joining forces together by hosting an awareness event to educate and inform the general public about the danger and consequences of human trafficking. The event will be coming up on Saturday, 19th of October 2019 at Reformiert Kirchengemeindesaal, Bethlehem in Bern from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. Admission is free. A collection of 25 luxury cars was seized in 2016 from Equatorial Guinea's Vice President Teodorin Obiang, the son of President Teodoro Obiang Nguema, as part of a Swiss money laundering probe, were sold at an auction house in Geneva for 27 million Swiss francs. 7 Ferraris, 3 Lamborghinis, 5 Bentleys, a Maserati and a McLaren were among the vehicles up for grabs. The most expensive sales included a white and cream 2014 Lamborghini Veneno Roadster that went for 8.28 million Swiss francs and a 2015 Koenigsegg one that fetched 4.6 million Swiss francs. The proceeds of the auction will benefit charity organizations in Equatorial Guinea. For its part, Switzerland has agreed to pay the Canton of Geneva 1.3 million Swiss francs to cover for the cost of the legal proceedings. The case is now considered closed. It is much of my responsibility, as it is your own responsibility, to preserve this planet for the next generation. So please take action now. Thank you again for staying tuned to Diaspora TV Switzerland. My name is Promise Graf. See you next time.
Flu or primary infection. If you contract HIV while having unprotected sex, you may experience flu-like symptoms within a few days to a few weeks. That's called the primary infection. The virus spreads rapidly inside your body during this period. Many HIV transmissions occur during primary infection, and for 2 reasons. Firstly, those affected often aren't even aware that they are infected with HIV and continue to have unprotected sex, especially within stable relationships. And secondly, the viral load in the blood and sperm is very high at that time. This increases the risk of infection for sexual partners. Symptoms of HIV infection are similar to flu symptoms such as fever, fatigue, night sweats, swollen lymph nodes, or skin rash. These symptoms manifest to different degrees and usually last between 3 and 10 days, sometimes longer. But the affected person remains particularly contagious for several weeks, even when the symptoms have disappeared. If you experience flu-like symptoms after unprotected sex, see a doctor immediately to discuss a possible HIV infection and, if necessary, get tested for HIV. Not only for yourself, but for your sex partner's sake too. It's the only way to prevent new infections and begin treatment right away if necessary. Make sure to remember, only practice safer sex until you know whether you've been infected. And that goes for stable relationships as well. Safer sex protects not only against HIV, but against other sexually transmitted infections as well. That means always use a condom during sexual intercourse. No sperm or menstrual blood in the mouth. In case of flu-like symptoms after unprotected sex, see a doctor immediately. The same goes for discomfort in the genital area, such as itchiness, stinging, or discharge. For more information on the topics of HIV and primary infection, visit lovelife.ch.